Hi, I'm Kerry Grinkmeyer. I'm a retired financial advisor, built one of the largest financial planning practices within the Ameriprise system and sold it in '05. I started this YouTube channel dealing with stocks, I guess it was in November of 19. And so I've experienced a number of bull markets, a number of bear markets, some surges, some crashes, some rotations, some corrections, and such. Today I went to my Discord and was discussing what I thought was happening in the market after these last several weeks. And I had done a video back on February the 20th talking about 3 days in a row in the red and saying that the crash or downturn will come, but it will come in the future. And as a result, this morning I got a message on the Discord that read this way. It's from Pashon, P-S-C-H-O-N. Wow, not so impressed. Excuse me. Wow, so not impressed. Kerry said the downturn would begin with specific signals which have not been sent, yet declares a most likely dead cat bounce without addressing the errors of his previous analysis. Why not just admit that no one really knows how all this works? I responded to him, Pashan, you believe this is the downturn. I don't. That's still to come after you remove your mask, after money stops flowing. This is just a rotation. So I want to dig deeper into that and express what I think is happening and how you should be interpreting it. So stay with me. While I'm gone, why don't you subscribe to the channel? If you're interested in seeing this kind of interchange on our Discord, go to Best of Us Investors. Send me your email address and your name, and I'll send you an invitation to our Discord where I share my portfolio, I share my trades, and I share my opinions. Stay with me.
Best of Us Investors presents Kerry Grinkmeyer.
Okay. Is this a crash that we're experiencing? Is this a rotation? Is this a correction? I personally think it is a correction. I personally believe that the amount of cash that has flowed into our economy over the last 12 months is unprecedented. Something in the name of $10 trillion. And to give you some perspective, we didn't hit a national debt of $10 trillion until somewhere in 2009, I believe it was. So it took over 200 years to accumulate a national debt of $10 trillion. And then we just put another $10 trillion in the last, right now it's probably about the last 10 months. So the market responded to that cash. When you rain that kind of money down on an economy, it's going to end up somewhere. If it comes to you, you may spend it. You may invest it. But eventually it's going to end up in somebody's pockets who don't have a need for it. So what will they do with it? They will invest it in speculative stocks. They will invest it in SPACs. They will invest it in IPOs. They will invest it in the NASDAQ market. And that's what we've seen. Now we've seen a correction, actually a rotation away from the NASDAQ market, which got overvalued in some cases, to some of the more traditional markets. And a lot of people are saying this is the crash. I don't believe it is. And I want to give you a historical analysis of why I don't think it is. So let me take you to my computer and show you some charts on the NASDAQ. And let's look at this. What we're looking at here is a chart on the NASDAQ market. As I said, there's terms being thrown around. Is this a crash? Is this a correction? Is this a rotation? Well, just what is it? We know that we're losing a lot of money in the NASDAQ market. So let's come to some understanding and agreement here. But let's look at starting in, this would be roughly November of 04. I'd say that's a bull market. Is this a crash? I'd say it's probably a correction. And then some sideways trading, and then again an adjustment or rotation up. Then I would say we moved into 09. This is the subprime crisis, and that is, in my mind, a crash. And we went through from 09 to 12, basically some sideways trading. And then I would say from 12 to here in 18, that is a bull market. Is this a crash? I don't think so. It's a correction, certainly, an adjustment. And then in 19 through 20, that again is a bull market. And then we come to 20 and we have the pandemic. And certainly that is a crash. That is a substantial crash. I think it was about 34% that it lost. Then we come into where we've been since the first of the year. And again, I would say we had a bull market. And that brings us to that line right there. That's this last week. Is that a crash? I don't think so. In fact, I've got on my Discord a little ridicule about, you don't know what you're talking about. You had said that the crash would occur when Fauci said to take your mask off. And Fauci had you miscalled that entirely. This gentleman, or I don't know, told me, I'm sorry, but that's not a crash. That is a rotation. That is a market adjusting to prices that got a little overvalued, and it come down to fair valuation. A crash, when Dr. Fauci tells you that take your mask off, and Joe says there'll be no more stimulus, and Joe says, and in order to take care of the deficit, we're going to raise taxes. This is going to come down to here, okay? This is going to come down to this range, its support level, and that is where we're going to declare it a crash. That's where you're going to have your mask off, you're going to be paying more taxes, and we're going to be rebuilding our economy on the taxpayer. That's a crash. That is not. I don't care. It is not. Okay. I hope you agree with me that this is a correction. It's a painful correction because it's taking money out of your pocket. You feel like you're in a crash. And that word conjures up all kinds of views. We know that Tiger Woods was in a crash just this last week. We saw it. That was a crash. Is this a crash? I don't think so. The chart tells me it is an adjustment. It is a correction down to fair values. Now, I'm invested in stocks that I'm very comfortable with. I'm invested in stocks that I think are going to change my life. I'm very narrow. I invest in electric vehicles. Do I believe there are going to be more Teslas on the road today or in 5 years than there are today? Yeah, I do. So I'm okay that Tesla has corrected down below $800. I'm all right with that. I'm invested in biotech. Do I believe that this pandemic and what it's done to our world's economy is the most important event in my 76 years life and relative to the future of our world and our stock market? Yes, I do. So I'm invested in biotech. I'm good with it. I know this can never happen again, and technology will see to it that it doesn't happen again, and I'm invested in the biotech companies that are going to see to it that that happens, okay? I'm invested in 5G. Do I believe that my computer's going to get faster, that it's going to get more efficient, that artificial intelligence is going to offer me all kinds of new opportunities in this world? I do. So I own the leaders in 5G. Who is that? That's Amazon. That's Google. That's Apple. That's Facebook. These are the people who are collecting the data. The 5G is not about how fast your computer works. It's about the data that your computer's going to gather, your devices are going to gather, feed into the cloud, and give you a better life. That's what 5G is all about. It's not about a tower. It will be about a satellite, but that's where I'm invested. And then I know that we've learned that our blockchain, our supply chain is broken, and that we had farmed everything out to China and Vietnam and all kinds of other people to manufacture everything we need, and we've realized we're susceptible. If this had been a war, we would have lost. We would have lost. Because we didn't have any pharmaceuticals. They're all made in China. I got the vaccines. They didn't come from the United States. So our supply chain is broken. So we got to bring manufacturing back. So I'm invested in 3D printing and robotics. Because in order to compete with the rest of the world, we got to change the way we're manufacturing. So I'm okay with what I got. So I'm just watching. I'm sitting on the sidelines and watching this game play out. And I believe we're in a correction. And I believe there'll be a dead cat bounce. We will flush the market when a correction occurs, when there are more sellers than there are buyers. Well, that's what's happening. Some of you are panicking. Some of you, your stop losses got tripped. Some of you are redeeming your ETFs, and everybody's redeeming and selling. When we get to the bottom, the big guys will test it once again. They'll let it come up like it is today, and I guess it's still coming up. And then they'll say, is there any more out there that we can grab? And they'll flush the toilet. And if you got stocks that you say, oh my God, here it comes, it isn't going to happen until the money stops flowing. When Joe says, we're done, we're not going to print any more money and we're raising taxes. Now the money is moving in a different direction. Right now it's coming from the government. It's when the money has to go to the government and that interest rates go up and it has to go to the banks rather than from the banks. That's when the crash occurs. So, what is the name? PSCHON. This is not the downturn, which I interpret you to mean crash. This is not the crash. Look at the charts. It's ridiculous. Okay. If you like videos like this, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, helps my algorithm, whatever an algorithm is. And go to bestofusinvestors.com. I'll share my nonsense with you. You then interpret it as you wish. And let's make some money. The reality is this is not that complicated. If you put in the work, if you understand it, and if you learn, it's all about knowledge. And it's all about controlling your emotions. Okay? All right, I'll talk to you again tomorrow.